The book, Three Views on Christianity and Science, is designed for anyone interested in the current state of the discussion within the Christian community and how the Christian community interacts with some of its critics. It is going to be broadly accessible to people who are maybe university students, professors, pastors, and so forth. So it's really intended to have a wide range, a wide reach for our audience. And so we are hoping that there will be people who will utilize this for textbooks in classrooms, in Christian universities, seminaries. Well, the goals of the book are to bring three distinct views regarding the relationship of Christianity and science into conversation with one another. Two of the views are distinctively Christian. One person, Michael Ruse, is representing an agnostic viewpoint. So for him, many of the questions are irrelevant or not really necessary for discussion since he doesn't accept the scriptures as authoritative. But he makes for a fun, engaging conversation partner as he challenges and pushes back on certain doctrines like original sin, the historical Adam, and so forth. So it's an opportunity for the Christian contributors, Alistair McGrath and Bruce Gordon, to since rise up and push back and offer their reasons for why they take the view that they do on these matters in their respective viewpoints. Well, what we hope to achieve in the publication of this book is to have people enlightened by where the conversation stands, how the Christian faith actually offers insight into some of the questions, especially where the non-Christian philosopher of science may be pushing back, and how the Christian faith stands up under that kind of scrutiny. We also want people to see that Christians can engage in a fair-minded way with graciousness, with cordiality, that it can be between people who are really on friendly terms with one another. There isn't this animosity, even though there is strong disagreement at an intellectual level. Anytime you're doing something that brings current voices together, you are doing the broader community, the broader audience a favor by letting them know where things stand, what is the state of the discussion currently. So it's just important for us to keep having this discussion, to see where things have come. Things are constantly changing in this whole conversation. So to give people the opportunity to see what the window is at this particular moment in time, what the conversation is at this point in history, is, I think, an important feature of this book, as it would be really any book that is trying to do this at whatever stage in history you're talking about. But beyond that, we're trying to bring together distinctive voices that represent different points of view that will truly engage with one another, that won't simply be patting each other on the back and affirming one another, but really pushing back on places where they disagree, challenging people to go deeper and to give clearer and fuller explanations, to give evidence for the reasons that they hold to the views that they do. And we're also, I think, discussing some things that perhaps weren't on the table earlier on. Questions, a few 100 years ago, 150 years ago, things like the historical Adam was taken for granted in the Christian community. The more we move along, some of these things are being challenged, and so it's a good opportunity to bring that sort of an issue to the table. Also, the issue of the relationship, the philosophical dimension of science to the Christian faith is also an important part. Do we begin with the assumption that everything is as though you're an atheist working in the laboratory or doing your analysis? Or does the framework of God, the possibility of miracles and so forth, also enter into this whole conversation? Is that a legitimate, viable starting point? Or is that, according to some, like Michael Ruse, totally illegitimate? So these are some of the questions, just from a philosophical point of view, that I think are becoming much more finely tuned, that we're trying to bring to the fore as well. And so we have three capable people who have good analytical, philosophical minds to contribute to that conversation. So we want it to be accessible. We want it to be dynamic and engaging. I would strongly encourage you to pick up this book, Three Views of Christianity and Science, and see what proper, gracious, respectful conversation looks like that we can take into our churches, take into our campus ministries, take into the broader public conversation. This is the kind of book that will serve as a guide toward that end.